Alright guys, for anyone that doesn't know, my name's Chris Gattucci. I'm a big kayak fisherman up in Rhode Island, and basically today I'm going to be going over my frog kayak fishing preferences in terms of terminal tackle, rod, reel, and frogs and modifications that I'll make to them. Let's start off with the rod. So I played around with a few different styles over the years. Anytime you're throwing a top water, you do want a light rod so you're not getting tired over the course of the day. But when you're throwing a frog, you also need a rod with a lot of power that is going to be able to pull the fish out of that thick cover that you're going to be fishing. So this rod I bought last spring, and I really loved it. It's a FX Custom Angler Series. This is a 7.4 heavy power, moderate fast action. It's rated for 1.5 to 2.5 ounces. Wow, it's a big rod, but it doesn't fish like a big rod. It's pretty light in your hand, and I can throw it all day. And I really like the tip action and how I'm able to walk my frog with this blank. Another nice thing about the FX is that they do feature wind grips. So, I mean, I was a little bit skeptical at first, but these rubber grips do make a big difference. Whether it's raining out or you're sweating, your hands are wet from catching a fish. It seems like almost the more wet that these grips are, the grippier they get. So, this rod I have absolutely nothing wrong with it. I think it is one of the better rods that on the market for the price point. I think I paid like $160 for it. Has a good warranty. Basically just a small company that people are just kind of figuring out now. The reel, I just got a Shimano core on here. I have a couple of these. This is an old made in Japan Shimano. I just feel like the components on this reel are, pretty well thought out and well made, and I don't have to worry about this reel ever failing on me. Because, when you're frog fishing, you are putting a ton of abuse in your gear. You're using heavy line, so that's always going to be, taxing on your equipment. On here I have 50-pound braided line. I like to use the... where is it? So I like to use this stuff. This is the FX2 Froggin' and Flippin' by Sunline. I just found that line, the color doesn't fade away as quick, and it seems to just last longer, more casts out of it. I just have had issues with, cheaper alternatives with, them kind of getting hairy almost. Whereas I feel like this line is really tightly woven, and you don't have that kind of Power Pro hairy effect going on over time. So you do pay a little bit more, but I do like the line. I think it makes a difference with frogging. But yeah, that's pretty much my setup I'll use for basically all my frogging. I don't try and overcomplicate it. Now we'll get into some of the frogs I like. So this is your standard Spro bronzeye Poppin frog. I do like these a lot. I think that they walk very nice. I love the colors. The hooks are good. The durability is pretty okay. However, you do have to modify these out of the package. I got one here that's caught a few fish. So what I will do with these, I'll bend the hooks up. These EWG style hooks are nice, but the way that they come out of the package, you're gonna miss a lot of fish. You gotta bend those hooks, point them upward. It's kind of one of those things you'll learn over the years. It takes a while, but once you kind of figure out that angle that you wanna make when you're bending that hook, just to help it stick out a little bit from the body, so it'll catch that fish's mouth, even if they don't eat it good. That makes a huge difference with these frogs. If you use them straight out of the package, you'll be having some frustrations. But I like to throw this frog. I like the action. It's a little bit smaller, so I think it's easier for the fish to eat. But I got plenty of frogs I like. That's not the only one. So here is the Spro Frog, which this is the launch series. This just came out last year, and these are different. These frogs are the heaviest frogs I think that they make, basically. They weigh like 3/4 of an ounce. It has a tungsten button weight in the back. The hooks on them are absolute harpoons. You got some owner hooks, and you know they're solid hooks. You know, you don't have to worry about them ever. The tip's rolling. That's a big thing with frogs. A lot of them come with crappy hooks, and what'll happen over time, and a lot of people don't realize this, but those tips on the hooks will roll. And instead of a straight point, you'll have a bent point, and the penetration level will really won't be able to get that same penetration rate with the tip roll on the hook, obviously. These are better, you know, heavy cover frogs. I also do like the durometer of these frogs, and by durometer I mean the thickness of the plastic. So it's like if a fish doesn't have to crunch on this thing for the hooks to become exposed. That's one thing I've learned over the years, where you don't know the durometer of the frog until you take it out of the package. It doesn't matter what brand. I found that different colors seem to have different, you know, thicknesses. There also could just be inconsistency, you know, in the production. But I found that, you know, some of the frogs straight out of the package will be too tough, and you'll miss a lot of fish. One thing I always like to do with my frogs is just kind of push them down and look at, you know, how much hook is there behind the barb to keep that fish, you know, pinned. Because, you know, frogs, you can lose a lot of fish, and, you know, you can blame it on a lot of things, but when you start, you know, analyzing these frogs in depth and, you know, seeing different results with different frogs, that's when I think I really was like, all right, I got to start paying attention to little things like that more. This is a frog that I used to throw a lot, but I don't really throw as much anymore. And that would be the Reaction Innovations Swamp Donkey, which it's a cheaper alternative. You know, I think it's like only $9 or something, whereas these guys are a couple bucks more. The hooks are not as quality, but the durometer of the frog is very nice. It's a super soft body, so you know you will get, you know, pretty good hookup ratio generally. I did find though that these do not hold up as well when pickerel bite them compared to the Scum and Spro frogs. But you know, overall, still a good frog. Still gets the job done. The colors are all right. Honestly, frogs, I'm not super keen on the colors. I'm more just the hardware, the function, and you know how the, you know, how weedless the frogs are, just things like that. So another thing with these frogs is that, you know, you can obviously, there's a bunch of different colors and stuff, but I found that, like I said, we can do a squish test here. So these are both used frogs. This one, it's a yellow with like a black top, and this frog is completely, you know, solid color. You can't see through it. Now this frog, the only reason you can see through it is because of how many fish it's caught, but it's a lot softer. So your hookup ratio is going to be better. Like, I can't stress how much the durometer makes a difference with these frogs. Like, you can feel it, because if you just back and forth be like, all right, yeah, this one's softer. And it really does make a big difference. Other than that, I'd say I'm a frog aficionado. You know, I got quite the selection, and they're always coming out with new ones, so new colors and new stuff, so I'm always trying to, you know, keep a good stock of them. But yeah, just thought I'd give you guys a little review of, you know, how I frog fish and